Okay, all right. Let me say good evening, good afternoon, good morning, good day to all of you, our wonderful, wonderful friends. I am going to take a few minutes of your time. Let's take an hour of your time on this beautiful day. This is the day that the Lord has made. We will rejoice and be glad in it. I want you to go ahead and share, give your friends and family members the opportunity to be a part of this special broadcast. I want you to give them, your friends and family members, the opportunity, to be a part of this special broadcast. Just give them the opportunity, your friends, family members, and give someone the opportunity by sharing, tagging, and just giving them the opportunity to be a part. In the next few minutes, we gonna have some serious, wonderful conversation here, and I look forward to seeing as many wonderful people from my country, Liberia, sharing this with your friends and family members, and giving them the opportunity to come and be a part. We serve an awesome God, and we serve a great God. He is a miracle working God, a promise keeping God. And I always show some of my friends, tell them that, listen, come what may, Lord, I love to do what I do. And I enjoy doing it because this is a medium through which we can reach out to encourage somebody and make someone who is feeling downhearted happy, enjoying themselves in the presence of the Lord. Amen. All right, so join me. Let's just share, and I'm sharing with some of my friends. Those of you on Periscope and Twitter and Facebook and YouTube as well. I want to welcome all of you. Okay, all of you. You can go to our Facebook page. Let me pull this information here. You can go to our Facebook page as well, and just download our television app. Let's put our TV app info right here. You can go to our television app and just download the TV app and watch our broadcast as well. Just watch, share with your friends and family members. And I know you are looking a few minutes ago, looking and saying, what is it that Pastor Cummings of the Man of God is going to be talking about when he said, let go and let Jehovah God. Let go and let Jehovah God. Some of us, we find it difficult to let go, right? And to let Jehovah God. We kind of find it a little something that is hard to do, something that is difficult to do, because we feel that letting go is not one of those things that we want to do. But tonight I'm going to share, this evening, this morning, this afternoon, I'm going to share a few stories with you And then I'm going to encourage all of us, you, our viewers and listeners, we're going to share this with you, and we're going to encourage all of you to let go and let God. You see, when you can let go and let Jehovah God, you see, you experience a big picture or a bigger picture when you let go and let Jehovah God. So I want you to get yourself ready. It's just going to be for an hour. I'll be here and we'll talk, and we encourage you. Please share, tag, follow, like, and just be a part. Be a part. It's great having some of you on here. I know some of you are sharing, and some of you will come across this in your inbox. And if you have the time, you can listen. All right. So like I said, I'm just going to be here for an hour. Let's take 1 hour of your time, or maybe more. I want you to go ahead and share with your friends and family members. Give them the opportunity. I'm all love my country, so the flag of my beautiful country is right behind me. Liberia, West Africa, beautiful country, wonderful people, and yeah, we have a great nation. So please go ahead and share with your friends and family members. I want to start off by saying thank you for coming. Those of you that are on, thank you for coming. This is not about quantity, but this is about quality information. Information that will help some of you and to understand and see a bigger picture of something that I want to share with you, our listeners and viewers. That's why I told them doing nothing but dressing in my typical African attire, and because I wanted to feel like I'm home today, and indeed I'm home. I'm home. Let us start off by sharing a story with you. It's about a man. There were two friends, two wonderful friends. One of them, whose name is Lieutenant McCollin. Lieutenant McCollin was a firefighter in Liberia, West Africa. And during his leisure time, Mr. McCollin had a barber shop, and it was somewhere around the Point 4 community, Bushwa Island, just before going towards Playmate Cinema. Some of you in different parts of the world may not know where I'm talking about, but it's somewhere in Liberia, in a community that I grew up in. Mr. McCollin used to cut hair as well for living. He had a barber shop, a professional barber shop in the 80s. And he had a good friend by the name of the late Reverend Daniel T. Sigden. Reverend Daniel T. Sigden was my grandfather. He was also a lieutenant in the Liberian National Fire Service. It was this month, some many years ago, in Liberia, when my late grandmother and 6 of us 6 of us, that include my brothers and sisters, when our lives were being threatened by a tenant who was then renting from my late grandmother. She said she was going to call the government or the armed forces of Liberia on us because we were harboring a man from Nimba County. My stepfather hails from Nimba County, to be precise, from the Mano ethnic speaking group in Nimba County, so he's from Tapeta. And she said she was going to call the government forces on us. And our next door neighbor was an electrician, an electrician at the executive mansion, to be precise, the presidential palace. The man, few blocks from our house, was a technician or an electrician from the Crown speaking ethnic group. And my mother is from the Crew speaking ethnic group, so they would say Kwa people. So my grandmother, because she was a friend, decided that she would take us to her mother's house, my great-grandmother's house on the Bourgeois Island, for refuge. Because when this lady made that statement, a week before the statement she made, an entire family was executed. The whole family, the whole household, no survivor. Just about, if you were driving, it would be a 5 minutes drive from my community to the next community. The whole family were executed. So my grandmother was afraid that the statement this woman made, or the things she was saying at the time, had the propensity to cause chaos, and we were going to lose our lives. Because those days, when the government forces come to your house and you were part of a particular ethnic speaking group, the possibility of surviving, the chances to survive, was slim. So then we escaped and we went to Bourgeois Island. It was at Bourgeois Island, my late great-grand, a woman who sold firewood to build 2 wonderful big houses. And we went to my great-grand for refuge. Upon hearing the story, my great-grand was in tears that the life of her daughter and her granddaughter and her great-grand were being threatened. So we were there. Prince Johnson, the man who celebrates his natal day today, turned 70 years old today. I see his people, his kingsmen, are jubilating and celebrating him. He clocked in 70 years today. So while we were there, Prince Johnson and his forces took over the Bourgeois Island. That day was a bloody day on the Bourgeois Island. A bloody day. When it's a bloody day, the bloody day, they killed. They killed soldiers. They killed Liberians. So here we are. They were taking soldiers, Coast Guard, police officers. People were turning themselves in. Lieutenant Macaulay, may his soul rest in peace, thought there was no need to go and turn himself in because he was not carrying arm, a firefighter. But because of envy and jealousy, Mr. McCollin was then around the Liberian Electric Corporation area, around that community, to go few block from his place to go to the Coast Guard base. They went for Mr. McCauley that afternoon, that morning, early morning. And the rebels then had a checkpoint few blocks from my great-grand residence. So in the morning we'll go on the road. And then I bear with me because some part of today's broadcast will be emotional. So Mr. McCauley then, I didn't know there was Mr. McCauley that they were carrying that morning. But I heard the voice of this person in my mother's native vernacular crying for help. And it sounds something like this. Nanyipaniajio, moi banao, moi banao. And that man cried. I can recall that's one story. I've seen a lot of killings in my country, but that's one execution I can never forget about. So we ran on the road to see who they were carrying. When I got on the road, I recognized him. I draw back. I was then a little boy. Went back in shock. I knew the man. He was not a military man, but a firefighter and a professional barber. They tied him. He was only in brief, crying. They carry me, my people. Those days, you cannot talk for somebody. These blood-tested rebels, killers, murderers, thieves, who came in the name of liberators, would not listen to anybody. And they took Mr. McCauley. We were small boys then. We followed them down the beach where they had the Since Academy then those days. And they pushed Mr. McCauley. Ba-pow! The gun went off. He was tied with his hand behind him and dropped. You cannot cry on the scene. Then I came home. My grandmother was cooking. And she said, asked me this question. Who was that? Then I kept quiet for some time and I was looking at her. But she saw the tears. I said, they just killed Mr. McCauley. She said, oh! And she bent her head down. When she lifted her head, the tears, because he was a friend, a close friend to my late grandfather, was not a military man. But guess what? It was the neighbors who, because of jealousy, too, his wife then had a boyfriend who was then part of the rebel group that came with Prince Johnson. They had a personal beef with this man. This old man took his life. Fine man, fine, handsome old man, killed him. the community people were part of that. They never took the AK-47 to kill this man, but they killed him with their lies. They killed him with malice, envy, jealousy, myth. And then I remember my grandfather came to get us. We thought that the way things were smooth in the Point 4 area. I went to the market. My grandmother sent me to get some food stuff so that she can cook, because I was the older one. At the time, my sisters and brothers were much smaller. So I went to purchase food, pepper to cook. But while I was in the market, in the Douala market, I heard this voice telling me, tell your grandmother to pack you guys and leave, for people who died on the Bushwa Island. My late grandmother, knowing the person I was then, she concurred with me. We packed our stuff after cooking, we ate and decided to go back to Gardnersville. While we were en route to Gardnersville, the Liberian National Army, Armed Forces of Liberia, was fighting to take the port, and we fell into an ambush between they and Prince Johnson people. For 1 hour, we were in that ambush. God being God, we survived. And we were on our way to Gardnersville when we came across my late grandfather, who was then carrying a half bag of rice for us so that we can eat, because my mom and my grandmother used to sell rice. My grandmother used to sell rice in the market, the Redemption Market, the Gardnersville Redemption Market, where I used to sell plastic bags, onion and tomatoes in the basket, little cartoon. So we told our grandfather, well, we can't go back. We're going home. We want to go to our mom. My mom said she was not going to leave her young baby and her husband at the time to escape. She's not going anywhere. She was just sick and tired of the ill treatment. So she would stay. Whatever happened. So my grandfather decided to stay with his daughter and the husband and the young baby. And we went back and we told him, and my grandfather cried. He cried, he couldn't stop crying. We told him that they just killed your friend, Mr. Macaulay. Well, I returned to that community again in 1992, 92, 93, yeah. Then 92, 93, it came home close to me. This time it was my father. The man whom I really didn't enjoy. The man who, if he was alive today, he'd be like Prince Johnson and other people. My father would be looking into maybe 60-some years old or so. We got displaced again by another war, and we had to run to the Bushwa Island for refuge. I'm going to tell you why I'm talking about let go and let God. So, while we were displaced, my sister that next to me, Cleopatra Cummings, I decided to go to get my sister because I knew my father was a target. I knew, because my father was taken from us 1992. and was in prison for years. So I'd never enjoyed a fatherly figure in my life. Never. To say this is my father, besides my grandfather who was there for me up to his dying days. So I went for my sister. Few days later, it was just God that placed it on my heart to go get my sister. Few days later, someone came to rush to let my family know that again they got my father. And like Mr. McCarty, they stripped him naked, tied my father, and the same way Mr. McCarty was crying, those who were on the scene told me the story and told my grandmother the story, how Mr. McCarty, how my father was crying. They tied him, beat him beyond recognition. Somebody, when they were taking him to carry my father to execute him, someone recognized him and said, my father was never a soldier man. He was a brilliant accountant. My late father was a brilliant man, very innovative, very creative. The short time I stayed around him, that was the man that I knew he was. Then I went to see my father. My grandmother said, you cannot go alone to see your father. I got to go with you. So I said, I'm not afraid of them. She said, no. If you die today, I die with you. We'll go. Because the only difference between my late father and myself, I wear glasses. My father never wore glasses like that. So when we got to my father's house, he came outside. I couldn't even recognize the man. And he couldn't even recognize us. Because they had beaten him already. And his face was all swollen up. And he rushed to my grandmother and started crying. And there was this part of me that was encouraging me to take arm. And there was this part that was saying to me, it was useless. Because I saw execution. I saw execution the early 90s. Then I survived two myself. So I said to myself, there was no need. We all will fight. And I would do stuff to those who think they came to liberate us and was killing people the way they were killing people. But knowing my mom and my grandmother, that was not something that they would allow any one of us, the boys, to think about doing. So I saw my father. That was the last time we really had a close, good time until the war subsided. Then I started working with the radio station, and I would go to see my father once in a while, and we just talk briefly. We actually got close when I moved to the States. And once in a while, when I go to see my father, he will complain about his head, complain, and pressure, because he spent a lot of time in praising. It come from malice, envy, jealousy, lies. Those who were connected to President Doe, an auntie of mine, and was connected to people in the PRC, decided to program my father for the longest. Then he survived the war, was rescued by Senator Johnson. Now Prince Johnson was the one who rescued my father. And Alhaji Kroma people went after him and said he was keeping rebel. Because the community people said he was keeping rebel in his swimming pool. And this was a swimming pool my father never went in for years because he spent a lot of time in prison. I remember I was in the second grade, I think third grade, and I told my sisters and one of my brothers, the four of us went to see my father, and that was the last time I think I saw him in prison. He said, "Don't let them do what they did to me to y'all. So stop coming here." And that was the end of it. We never went to the prison to see him until he got free. Why am I talking about let go and let go? There are many persons today who are living with pain, living with hate. Imagine you see people crying, begging you, "Please don't kill me." And they were gunned down. Only because some of those people got killed because they belong to a particular ethnic group. They come from a particular class. Or maybe because, like some of us who got a Kru background, a Grebo background, a Congo and Senegalese background, and the West Indies background, we managed to be a target. My great-grandfather, Morgan, the Morgans are actually from Senegal. And the old man lived in Grand Bassa, where my grandmother, the late Agnon Morgan, was born. So if you see me tall like this, it's because of that lineage. It's because of that lineage. And that's why sometimes I say to people, Liberians, we are all from different parts of the world. But we kill each other. The same malice, hatred, lies is the same thing that we're still doing. It's the same thing that continues today. Envy, jealousy, gossip, lies, deception at a higher peak, unpatriotic, not nationalistic, and we're still doing the same thing. Go with me to the Bible. Let's go to another school of thought. In the book of 1 Samuel, chapter 19. Now watch this. Watch. In 1 Samuel chapter 17, David put his life on the line for Saul and his people. David had his life on the line for Saul and his people to face Goliath. David killed Goliath. The Philistines saw that their champion had fallen, ran away. Because Goliath was the man they were counting on. Now Goliath had 5 other brothers who was just like him. But we're not on that front. It was Goliath. David killed Goliath. In chapter 19, Saul, sitting with all of his commanders, said, "I'm going to kill David." Why? I'm going to kill David. Why? His son then, Jonathan, then asks, "What is it? Why do you want to kill David?" This is the same David who put his life on the line, had his life on the line. This is the same David who killed Goliath. But you want to kill him. Today, there are folks who place their life on the line for community dwellers, helping them. They ate, sat down, wined, and dined with you. I was listening to somebody one time, and they had to conference someone, and they said to me, "JEROY, please don't get angry." I said, "What is it?" She said, "I want you to listen to this conversation." And I was listening to a big brother, a friend, and he was just talking. And after the conversation, she said to me, "You know who was on the phone, right?" I said, "I know the person, I know the voice very well." I said, "But I want to get even with the person, but you are saying to me, stand down." I said, "I never had that conversation with him. Never." It's lies that has no iota of truth. That's how people kill people in my country. They were killing folks based upon envy, malice, lies, and deception. Now watch this. Jesus says something, and the reason why I'll keep going back to scriptures here, because the people from my country strongly believe there's this religious perception that is so hard that Liberia was established on Christian principles. So that's why when I say certain things, as a man of God, I'll go back to scriptures and show you a vivid picture. So in John chapter 15, verse 18, Jesus said to us, "If the world hates you, remember this, they hated me before you. They did it to me." So here is Saul planning to kill David. For what? No concrete reason why he wanted to kill David. But envy, jealousy, malice, all sinking into his head. Wanted to kill David. David flee for his life and went to Ramah, to the prophet Samuel. Now watch this. In 2 Samuel chapter 9 verse 1, this is the same David. He coming to let go and let God. Because of what Jonathan did for him, David decided to bless somebody from the house of a man, or from the lineage of a man who wanted to kill him for free. Who wanted to kill him for free. Who was this man? Saul. And Jonathan was the son of Saul. So in 2 Samuel chapter 9 verse 1, David said, "Is there anyone left in the house of Saul that I, David, will show God's favor for the sake of Jonathan?" So David was remembering what Jonathan did for him. The people who sometimes want to seek your downfall, or are basically seeking your hurt, or who are the adversary to you, they may not be people from Angola or Zimbabwe. They are people close, in close proximity. Close, they are in your entourage. Look, the people, the soldiers couldn't distinguish Jesus from his disciples. got to be somebody in. But David had to let go. Jesus himself had to let go. On the cross, he said, Father, forgive them, for they do not know what they are doing. So he had to let go and let God. That's what today he is, the mediator between God's creation and God. Let go and let Jehovah God. And as much as it's painful, and there are times when let me share this fun with you guys. When I'm visiting a friend, or I have a friend, and I see that both parents are around, and there's this, happy mood, for me, I get sad a little bit because, oh yeah, now that I can understand, I wish my father was still alive. Because the last 3 years of my father being with us, it was everyday telephone call. When I'm at work, I get a call. He was calling. My father made sure he made friends with all of his children prior to his death. And I recalled, he said something to me, he said, JEROY, I know you're a wild talker, you're not a friend, but whatever thing transpired in my life, don't change. Don't hate anybody. Because there was this rage that was inside of me that I don't even know how I work for some people who were friends to liberators, so-called liberators in my country. I don't even know where that came from. I just can't tell. But it seems like there was that other side of the JEROY who was grievously vexed, seeing what people are doing to other people. But then when I decided to give my life to Christ, I've seen a bigger picture. And that bigger picture is, I must let go and let Jehovah God. How many of us are letting go and letting Jesus? The psalmist says in Psalm chapter 35 verse 1, he said, plead my cause, fight against those who fight against me. So David had to come back to be a blessing. Some people will forget and say, oh no, man, his father tried to do this to me, and so even though he spared my life, but I cannot affiliate or associate myself with this person. When I was growing up in the borough of Nuclear Town, seeing my mom going to Detour High School, selling her, she was then in the 12th grade and I was a little boy, and she would carry her little biscuits to sell. She was in high school because I was very young. My grandmother was selling donuts and Kool-Aid, and they were raising sheep. My grandfather, how much was to pay a firefighter? And a woman had to take care of her children. We grew up living in a rotten zinc shack. Not one of those beautiful places to be, but we were content with everything we had. Yeah, from my father's side, I came from a well-to-do family, but I had a mother who was not the richest, but was a native woman, and being perceived as somebody who wouldn't have a child for the CUMMINGS or the mortgage. They wanted somebody up there. But my mom is a strong woman, and she taught us that it is very good to let go and let God. So in all of my trying time and all of the things that I have experienced in life, my mom, my grandmother, or my grandparents have been the people who taught me some of the things that I exhibit today. Then I learned some from men who serve as a mentor to me. I see too many heightened people. I see too many heightened family. And some people are causing people pain. And some people just get up and say things about people when they don't know. And some of those people, if you give them a microphone and put them before the camera and bring a JEROY Cummings, they zero. But they say things that they have no clue. Am I proud to be a son of the borough of New Town, Corner West? I'm proud. I'm happy that I was born there, because I was able to see what it means to go to bed hungry, what it means to live in a zinc shop and it's raining. But here is what Mom taught me. She said, let go and let God. That's why when you sit with my mom and us, you can't tell. When my grandmother was alive, you can't tell whether this is my mom or my older sister, because we grew up in the same environment. I don't call my mom, I call her sister, or I call her big girl. And we laugh and joke and play about it. She's the only person I got. But you know one thing what God did? Because I learned how to let go and let God, God had blessed me with mothers, sisters. Yeah. Mothers and sisters. I can't tell anybody, say, hey, I was the world's most perfect man, or I'm the world's most perfect man. But I've seen pain, I've seen people hide, I've seen people kill other people, and I've seen people malign people's character. And of lately, I see my own sister character being maligned, and people who cannot even sit with me for 2 hours strictly to talk, real talk, and dance, real dance, that cannot. I hear them talk stuff, I just sit down and I just laugh, and I say, if you only knew where we came from, you won't say what you're saying, because you don't know. But you know, as a Christian, we come to that place where we have to let go and let God. Because you see, the battle is not ours, the battle is the Lord. There were people crying in front of me, don't kill me. And I heard the gun go off. They were killing people in front of me. The people and myself from the same country. They were not different people. I met a friend and a big brother in Ghana. And he called me in the dark. It was late. And he called me and somebody recognized that he was talking to me. And so he called my native name, Sayum. I said, he kept saying, picking Sayum. Now you have to know me to know that name. So I told the guys, the other pastors that were with me, I say, it's strange. The person is in the dark. When I walk, he came from in the dark. He said, he rushed to me. He said, my Peking. And then I remember I knew him. He was an electrician. And I said, what are you doing here? Come back, come to Liberia. I work for a radio station. I'm the manager at the radio and television station. Come, you'll get a job. What are you doing here? This place is deplorable. And he said to me, I can't go home. And I said, why? He said, I can't go home. They killed my family before me. What is there to live for again in Liberia? I said, so you're going to be on the camp? He said, this is where I'm going to be. And I'll die here. I was speechless. I couldn't say a word. He said, my Peking, there is nothing worth going home to in Liberia. Nothing. I told you this is going to be emotional. I read some of the stories without shedding tears. So this, I can't go home. And when I got home, I returned to Liberia from this conference. I went back on the radio. Everything about me changed. I saw a different world outside of Liberia. I got exposed to something more developmental oriented. I was listening to messages that were moving me, and I was reading books that was bringing transformation to my mind. Then coming to America to go through some of the pains that I've gone through, I've learned to let go and let God. Not just God, but Jehovah Elohim. And that's the place most of us got to come to and say, I'm going to let go and let God. And as much as it's going to hurt, it's painful, you got to let go and let God. And if you can do so, you're going to see a bigger picture. And that picture is Christ. If you can just sit down and say, I will lift up my eyes unto the hills, right? From whence cometh my help? My help cometh from the Lord God, who made heaven and earth. Sometimes it's difficult, right? To see yourself going through a situation and say, you know, I can overcome this. Look, without God, you cannot. Without God, you cannot overcome. That's what Jesus said. Come unto me, all ye that are heavy laden, and I will give thee rest. So it is only Christ that can give us rest. And only Jesus that can change the story. And he's going to change yours. But you have to be willing to let go. That family member that caused you pain, that family member that caused you to go through some of the things you're going through right now, it's going to take the grace of God for you to come to that place and say, man, I'm going to let this go. And let God. Because, see, when we can allow God to take preeminent, God will not do anything until we invite him. That's why in Jeremiah, he said, call on me and I will answer you and I will tell you great things. We need to call him. We need to invite him in our lives and the situation we find ourselves going through. And we have to come to that place where we have to let go and let God. I love you all with the love of God. Maybe this is not for everybody, but this is for somebody. You've been hurt. People hurt you. People say all sort of things about you. Listen, some of them, excuse me, their perception about you is wrong, right? But it's good for people to talk. I love it when people talk. Honestly speaking, I love it. Because here's my example for which I'll say I love it, why when people talk, is this: when they're talking about you, it is because you are riding an important goose. Your life, you're carrying something very important, and they're fighting to be you, but they can't be you. They're fighting to do the things that you do, but they can't do it. Because for some of them, it is lies, gossip, foolishness, and myth, blackmailing, undermining people, lying about people, fighting to destroy people when they don't have no clue how this woman is going about doing her business, how this man is going about putting his life together. That's why don't always give people the opportunity to say some stuff about you. Live a life worth emulating. I tell some of my friends, I spent 14 years of my lifetime in the media, right? I was a wildcat, but not in the media. I was one of the most quiet, calm-going guy when I'm off the microphone. I still don't see me. I'm standing in front of people. I still a shy kind of person. Off the microphone, off the camera, JEROY is just that kind. I got to be able to feel you, to talk with you. Then that part will come out. But if I can't feel you, I can't talk. So when people malign your character and say all sort of things about you, don't let it move you. Because Christ Jesus said in John chapter 15, verse 18, remember they did this to me before, you. So that if they hate you, let them hate you. I can't change anything. But the best thing you can do for yourself is this: say, I'm going to let go and let God. Because if you don't let go, you're going to take your clenched face and you're going to go fight somebody. Let go and let Jehovah God. Let go and let Jesus today. And you're going to see a bigger picture. A bigger picture. Now, I tend to be a little bit selective in the people in my inner circle. The people that bring around me, the pastors I affiliate with, the prophets and prophetess around me. I want to know you to bring you in my corner. I don't need Judases. I don't need Herods. I don't need Goliaths. And I don't need Pharaohs and Pharaoh lanes or Goliath lanes. I'm looking for a Jonathan. I'm looking for a Ruth. I'm looking for a Naomi. I'm looking for a friend who's willing to emulate the good example of Jesus Christ. The friends who knew me then, when they ask me now, I say to them, I'm not antisocial. I'm just Jesus social. Who told you I don't go to recreation places? I do. I like good music. I like good food. I like to listen to classical jazz, rhythm, blues, R&B, reggae, calypso, soca. My father was a man who loved music. My mom loved music, so if you see me dancing, my mom loved to dance, so I took that stuff from her. My grandmother was a prolific singer. My mom's older brother is a veteran musician that lives in Paris. So I came from a family. Music was just it. And music is a universal language. It serves as a therapy. When you're down, when you're stressed, and you want to let go, you can't let go, get yourself some good music. There are days I come in my studio, I put some wild music on and soft melody, and just put the microphone down and put the headphone in my ear and listen to music. Because the world we live in You can't predict tomorrow. You can't even preempt what will happen tomorrow. What we did yesterday, we can't keep doing now and expect to see something different. I love you all with the love of God. God bless you. Thank you so much. Try to let go and let go. Some things ain't worth fighting for. Some things ain't worth dying for. If it is over, it's over. Don't go for it. Leave it. Don't get up and say, I'm the biggest, baddest guy on the block. You know, I was reading one of the local dailies with my sister, and I laugh. Knowing, she know me, knowing the person I am, I don't play fun. I don't play games. I don't have time to play those kind of games. So somebody had called me and said XYZ, and I was open. I said, so what is it? Oh no, I just want us to talk. I said, I have no interest. This is my sister we're talking about. This is the woman who was a breadwinner for me. This is the woman who put her life on the line during after the war subsided. This was my sister who would do anything to make me happy. This is my sister. Somebody is denigrating and saying trash about. What do you want me to say? Talk? No, I don't. But I say to my sister, I say, you got to let go and let go. What transpired with her had taught me a new lesson. And that lesson is, when I stop doing good, I know my mom still doing good. She never stopped. She will not stop. I don't care what you do, she can. And so I'm not. I'm not going to. I know my sister will always want to do things for people. I know my sisters very well. The boys are they can say we the soft one. My sisters are strong. They're very strong. They're stronger than us. They can sit here without crying, but I can sit here and talk and encourage people and will cry. But my sisters are men. They're strong. I don't know where they got their strength from, but they're strong. And they are courageous women. So I use my story to encourage other people. People talk to me, but there's something I was trained as a journalist. It's called confidentiality. And there's another phrase that we use. Put your mind in gear before you open your mouth. If there's no believability in that story, I'm not talking about it. You can send it to me 10,000 times. I'll do the investigation before I talk. If something ain't worth making money out of, don't sell it to people, because there's a likelihood it's going to come back to you. I can tell you about Jesus because I've had an encounter with him. He took my family from nowhere to somewhere. Is he going to do bigger things than this? Yes. Can he do it for you? Even though you've been hurt, even though you are going through pain. But let me say this to you. Learn how to let go. Forgive. Just forgive those people who hurt you. Forgive those people who are saying things about you that they don't even know you. Let them talk. Let them say what they say. You let go and let go. And when you do, watch this now, when you do, God is going to fight for you, as it was done in the case of David when Saul went after him to Ramah. Bible says he stripped himself butt naked. And listen, a king stripping himself butt naked. So just let go and let go. And God bless you all, man. Hope we learn from this and take you from it and say, listen, Pastor Cummings, Prophet Cummings, I didn't have to come here to preach. The Holy Spirit laid on my heart because I see too many hurting people. Yesterday, a lady called me in the morning in tears and saying, Pastor, I'm tired, I'm tired, I'm tired. I will commit suicide. I yelled and said, you can't do it. And she explained to me, and I told her my story. I said, I'm still here, and I'm breathing the breath of life. Am I better than you? Why would you want to commit suicide? Who will you leave your children with? Can we pray? And we said a word of prayer. And today, I didn't receive a call that she want to commit suicide. So I know within my mind that it is well with her. It is well. And it is well with all of us. God bless you. Facebook, Periscope, Twitter, YouTube. Dial to listen. I know some of you are on Zono Radio and you're listening. Man, I love you all with the love of God. And finally, if you're from my country, Liberia, do this. Pray for the country. Pray for the leaders. Pray for the people. Pray. That's all I can say. Pray. I have a duty to pray, and I'm going to do so. But let me extend another invitation. As of Monday, we will be embarking upon a journey. And that journey is to pray for our family. So we'll come on 9 a.m., 12 midday, 3 p.m. You don't want to miss. Yes, it's going to be for 2 weeks. And we know that come what may, God is going to move us into 2022, 23, 24, 25 with strength, with good health. God bless you all. Thank you so much. Thank you. Bye-bye. 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 Everybody, good night. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Thank you for coming.